Hi everyone, my name is Victoria and welcome back to Her Happy Mind, where I am using my master's in positive psychology to really teach everyone that happiness isn't just luck, it's skill. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the happiness pie. And this is going to be a good episode because it's going to be training you or showing you more about what part of happiness is genetics and the other part that is on us. And so this research is done by Sonja Lyubomirsky, Kennon, Sheldon, and David Schkade in 2025, where they created what's known as the happiness pie. And it completely changed how people started to understand where happiness truly comes from. Okay. And so I want you to picture like a pie chart. Okay. And 50% of that pie chart is genetics. And before you think like, oh my God, can you not tell me that happiness isn't luck? Like some people were probably born with more happiness. Yeah, it's something called a set point. So everyone has their own set point of happiness. So you might have like a very high, and then eventually you see that your high starts slowing down and then you get to a baseline. So everyone has a different baseline to happiness. Some might be a little bit more shinier or sunnier or happier, and some might be a little bit more neutral. 50%. So I know that might seem like a lot, but the other 10% is circumstances. So this is like your income, your relationship status, where you live, and what you do. And the other 40% is intentional activities. And so this is like your mindset, your habits, and your daily practices, routines, or exercises that you do in your life. So the last piece is what we're going to be looking at the most because that's 40%. And those researchers found that we are in charge of 40% of our happiness. And I kind of like those odds. It's not 10, it's not 5, it's not 20, 40. That is still a big chunk of what we can work on. And so today we're going to talk about that 40%, but also understanding as well that the 50% of genetics can also be trained through neuroplasticity. So just because you were born with a wrong set of hands for happiness, it does not mean that is what you're going to have for the rest of your life. You might just have to work a little bit harder, or you may need to just understand your brain in a different way and then work your way, which we'll get into that as well. And I know in my past episodes, I was talking about, how we have to shift our happiness, not just from like materialistic things, but thinking of it more as a what is our meaning, or what's our purpose, rather than just chasing pleasure. And so that's interesting to think that 10% of our happiness comes from our circumstances, because this can be linked back to your money, your jobs, and where you live and the things that you own. So only 10% of your happiness comes from that. So I think once people understand the happiness pie, they might start redirecting or shifting, like, okay, like, yeah, like maybe I am chasing the wrong things. But I just thought it was totally interesting that even on when they were doing this research, that what you have and what you own is only 10% of that pie. I do want to take this time to go over 3 different practices and exercises that you can do in your life right now to start building up that 40%. And so if you're listening to this, and I meet people, friends, or I have a few of my students where I know that their parents may suffer from anxiety or depression or just very low emotional intelligence. Teachers, I think, were kind of programmed in a way to see, okay, if this child is behaving like this, or if this is how the child is reacting, or if I'm meeting with the parents and that's their reaction, or this is how they handle situations, or this is like how much they don't care or care about this. I know that that's going to be what their child is going to be learning as well, because it's more about what is caught and not what is taught. Teachers can teach as much as they would like in school, but it's really what's caught at the end of the day, and that's still in the household. And so your child is picking up on everything: your emotions, how you react to things, how you process things, all of that. And so if you're someone who is anxious or is depressed, or that runs in the family, yeah, it's because it's genetic. And so when I think of certain students that come into my classrooms, I am very well aware of that. And I try to teach the lessons, understanding that might be their emotional background. I would like to put that more on the parents. Like there has to be more, how can I put this like in not in a crazy way, but I guess it's hard for the parent to understand that they are emotionally low or that they don't have high happiness because they might be going through it. They might be going through a tough time. Sad when you see that reason why kids have to be on medication these days. And I know this is like a little bit of a rampage away from the topic of the happiness pie. You could skip through this part, but if you do have kids, like, or if you want to have kids, or if you just want to understand more family dynamics, like teaching in elementary school is beautiful. It's so rewarding. You know, we don't do it for the money as teachers, but I always get so frustrated when grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, you know, young students have to be put on medication to control like the ADHD or like their mental illness in a way, when really it's like be looking at where they got it, which might have been from the parents or not even the parents genetically. It could be their household routine. Maybe they're always on the go, or maybe in the household they live in a very like scared household. So maybe we should be looking into that. Maybe they have like more of a fear-based love interaction at their house, or reward system at the home, or they don't at home they don't practice like values, or they don't have any like morals, or they don't have anything like disciplines. Like it's kind of just like you do whatever you want to do even if you're 8 years old. Like before we start medicating kids, or before we start looking at even adults, before we start medicating adults, like what is your routine doing so you are becoming like this? Like what is it in your routine that you are currently doing that you are always depressed, that you are anxious, that you can't sit still, that you're overthinking everything? Like it could have been things that have happened in the past, but it could be a current lifestyle that is not helping it either. And so I'm really not someone who thinks that medication will solve all of it. If you go through a certain thing in your life and you're like, okay, I'm anxious, I'm depressed, I need to go see on a doctor, and they put me on medication, okay, that's fine. Like go for it. My only issue with that is when people start using the medication, I have to say this in the right way, when people use the medication as a band-aid, not self-reflection. Like if you are on depression medication for 20 years of your life and you haven't gone to a yoga class, you tried to get out off your screen and make friends in real time, or connect back with your old friendships, or moving your body, going to the gym, practicing meditation, mindfulness, being kind to others. If you're not doing any of that in 20 years and you're just relying on the medication to help you get over your depression, you are going to be on those medications for 20 more years. Fine if you have to be on medication for a few years to get your life back together, right? I think that's just big pharma pushing pills and not pushing lifestyles. Like you could fix a lot with a healthy lifestyle, with steps, movement, healthy eating, a good diet, you know, some supplements, friends, but there's no money in that, right? Big pharma would make no money. When I say it's genetics, yes, but also don't play the victim either, being like, well, if I got this passed down to me, then I'm just going to be on medication. No, like it's not like a death trap, right? Like you can still work your way out of it. Yes, it might be harder, but it's going to be so worth it at the end if you were able to come through that at the end of the day. 50% genetics, out of all that little like blob about like medication, all that stuff, is that not a ceiling. It's more of your brain's baseline and the point that it naturally returns to. But neuroplasticity and how much psychology is coming up around how we can train our brains, and the ability that no matter how old our brain, or how old we are, our brain can still change, means that our baseline can change over time. We just have to make cautious, effective, and smart choices to start changing that. Okay. And so let me get into the other 40%, the intentional activities, because this is things that you can do too, depending on where you fall on the genetic pie chart of like happy or not happy based on your genetics of the 50%. You can, these three things will help so much increase it, but also with your intentional activities. So the first one I want to go over is gratitude. I know sometimes it sounds cliche right now, but there is a lot of science behind it, and the science behind it is really, really wild. And there's researchers like Robert Emmon and Michael McCallow found that people that wrote down a few things that they were grateful for each week were significantly happier, and physically and mentally, than those who didn't, which is very interesting. And gratitude lights up a part of your brain as well. So there's MRI studies that show by Glenn Fox and colleagues that gratitude activates the ventral spectrum, spectrum, a region located to dopamine, motivation, and pleasure. That's one thing about me. Reading names and like scientific terms, like forget about it. But you can still do hard things, and that should not stop you. Like, I've always had trouble reading, so you're just gonna come along and sound out these words with me, okay? Gratitude is like a mental flashlight. So let's pretend this whole room goes dark, and I'm like, I'm grateful for, and I point to something, and that thing pops up, like my dog, and my flashlight goes on my beautiful dog. And then I go around the room and I'm grateful for, oh, and it lines up for like my beautiful plant. So then it lines up, oh, and I'm grateful for this comfy chair, right? So gratitude is like a mental flashlight where it latches on to things that you notice. And if you are always concentrated on the bad things, you will always see bad things. If you're concentrated on the good, your brain will be wired to keep looking out for the good. So it's like kind of like a Velcro. Like if your brain is always trained for looking for good, looking for positive in situations, it's going to look for that, right? If you're constantly being negative or pessimistic, it's going to look out for situations like that. So one, either keep a journal, like I've mentioned in the last few episodes, you need a journal and by your bed or somewhere that you won't forget, even where you eat your breakfast. So one, write 3 good things list. So every day, morning or night, you write 3 good things that happen or 3 things that you're grateful for in that day. Jot them down, or you can start practicing a gratitude letter. So writing or texting someone or writing an email or handwriting a letter to someone of why you are grateful for them in your life and why. And you don't even have to send it. You can just write it and then you could keep it or put it in the recycling bin, and that still increases your level of happiness. It just boosts your happiness in a way of like saying other people, like complimenting other people boosts your own happiness. Like try it. Whenever you say like, hey, I love your shirt today, or you look really good today, you also feel really good about yourself. So that comes down to number 3, which is kindness. I'll get that soon. But before we get to kindness, I want to go on the next one, which is mindfulness. So we did gratitude, practice that more every single day. And then mindfulness. And that's not just like sitting like cross-legged in the corner and just going like, for like a whole hour. Mindfulness is about being present, being focused, being aware of your thoughts, your sensations, your moods, and your surroundings without judgment. There's many researchers. I picked this one. Kirk Brown and Richard Ryan found that mindfulness is directly linked to higher well-being and lower stress. So students from Richard Davidson at the University of Wisconsin show that even after just 8 weeks of mindfulness training, people had more activity in their left prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain tied to positive emotions and resilience. So the next time you brush your teeth or do something of mundane that you do every single day, making your smoothie in the morning, brushing your teeth, or doing your makeup or tying your shoes, whatever you're doing that's like always in your routine in the morning, just focus on it. Focus on the texture, the warmth, focus on the sensations, the feeling. Your awareness is anything else smell around you. What does your toothpaste smell like? What does it like makeup feel like on your hands? What does the shoelace feel like in your fingers? Like these, I want you to be like very like feeling all the sensations. Smell, see, touch, smell, see, taste, touch, and hear. That took a little while, but get all those sensations up and going and seeing. That will be really hone you into your present moment. You can try that. Another one is if you start feel like you're having like a downward spiral, someone said something, you saw something, stop, take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, and just be present. Like, I'm here right now. I can only control what I can control. Like a lot of us are stressed about things that we can't control. Like a lot of our stress and anxiety comes from things that we have literally no control of. Literally none. So we have to let go some of that. But when you are in those moments, you have to let your body know that. So breathe in, breathe out, and be like, this is not what I control, or I'm here, and that's a good way to let it go. And another thing about mindfulness is that research shows that mindfulness literally reduces activity in the brain's default mode network, the part that constantly thinking about yourself, the past, or the future. And when that quiets down, happiness actually becomes easier to access in the moment. So sometimes you're like too overwhelmed to understand, like your brain is like trying to be happy. And if you just like stop and took a breath and be more present in the moment, your brain could then, okay, calms down, reduces activity in the default mode network, that part that you're overthinking and the past to the future that's constantly going. It was really cool. The third one, like I said, is acts of kindness. This one is so important, and I think we have to do it more and more and more. This is a study by them again, Lyubomirsky, Sheldon, and Schkade. They're so hard. And so these researchers asked people to do 5 random acts of kindness a week. And the ones who mix it up, so like maybe they grabbed a cup of coffee one day, they opened a door for someone else, they helped the neighbor the next day, saw that there was a bigger increase in happiness. Kindness activates the mesolimbic reward system in your brain, the same system that lights up when we experience joy or love. Literally gives you like a helper's high. Like when you help someone or you do something out of kindness, not to be rewarded, not to, film yourself so then you can post on social media. You do it just because like someone's watching. You do it out of like pure generosity, pure love, pure kindness. You do get a helper's high. And kindness is something that more and more research is coming out of like helping others actually help you. And sometimes you, even though if you're feeling like super crappy, just by going out and helping someone else can literally help you feel better. Maybe you can send a text right now to someone like, hey, thinking of you, like, hope you're doing well. Thanks again for helping me with my garden. Giving someone a genuine compliment. Yes, so on their, like when you're on their Instagram, giving them a genuine comment, like maybe not just doing emojis, but actually writing something. Or when you see someone at work, they got a new haircut or they did their makeup that day or something, giving them like a genuine compliment. Or do something totally like anonymously, like leaving a note or a small gift or making a anonymous donation if you can to a local charity or to one of your favorite nonprofits. Kindness reminds your brain that that connection, not competition, is what we're wired for. That sense of belonging is so still really important. Even with our glacier brains, connection is really important to us. Belonging is really important to us. If you learned one thing in the episode today, you can write it in the comments, something you liked, something you want more information on. I usually like to take my comments and then either expand on it in another episode if you're like, oh, you didn't go too much in detail in this, or I would like more information on this. I do look at all my comments and then I love to see what I can improve on. Take away that yes, your genes you can't control, but you can control them through time, through neuroplasticity. You can show how you show up. You can show what you do with your intentional activities. You can still change your circumstances, still go after goals and big things and materialistic things, but don't make it your huge thing of this will make me happy, because it's only 10% of your happiness pie. And every time you practice gratitude, mindfulness, and a kindful act, self-reflect. How did that make you feel? And I think like 99.99% of the time, it will make you feel really good. That's also strengthening your pathways in your brain. So your brain is going to start moving differently. It's going to start understanding differently. It's going to start rewiring differently because now you are starting to move differently as well. So although the happiness pie is just a theory, I truly think it's a good theory because it reminds us that we are not set in stone. We are not a tree. We can move, we can change, we can grow, and we can do better every single day. Thank you again so much for coming and listening to another episode on Her Happy Mind. I love these little talks. I love these little chats where I can just yap a little bit more and get my ideas more out to you guys. Use this time to listen to you and see what you need help with. So if you like this episode, hit the subscribe button, share this with someone that you enjoy. Go follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. Say hi in the comments. And again, stay present, stay mindful, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye, everyone.